FatherhoodUNCUT. This is Dustin with Jared.
Hello, everybody.
Making some changes. We're going to be doing something new. Wayne is off the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. At the beginning, right while you're drinking, at the beginning of every show now, I'm going to do a coffee review because coffee is very important to fathers. So if you want to step your coffee game up, reach out to me. But today, I'm going to shout out to Black and White Coffee Roasters. This is a Gesha from San Fernando. It's a Guatemalan coffee, and Guatemala and Ethiopia is very renowned for their acidity and like their fruity notes. Most coffees you think is really chocolatey, nutty. Gesha and coffees from Ethiopia, you can really pull out some fruit notes, and it's just a phenomenal coffee that's different. So after that, we're going to review a beer at the end of the show, and that's going to be by Jared because beer is near and dear to every father's heart, but
Every father starts out their day with coffee and ends their day with beer. So we figured we'd review coffee at the beginning and a beer at the end. So
yeah. So the reason it's just Jared and I really wanted to touch on mental fortitude because I am not very I go off the handle sometimes. Just owning up to, the imperfections, the fatherhood uncut portion of this. I wanted to talk to Jared about it because he's a veteran, and I feel like, the strict standards of being in the military would give you that mental toughness, that you could bring to the table as a father. So you're not flying off the handle at your kid when he's
sure.
So why don't you just give us the definition of mental fortitude?
All right. Well, the definition of mental fortitude is the ability to be in a tough. What's the word I'm looking for? Be in a tough situation and be able to strive and thrive through it. That's basically what mental fortitude is. I did not always have mental fortitude. Growing up, I was terrible at it. I got in lots of trouble as a kid, even though both of my parents were military and they instilled all that in me, or they tried to. I did not listen or did not take it to I did not use it in my life. When I did join the military, things really had turned around for me. I learned that, teamwork and being the best person that I could be myself really made everyone thrive around me. And we were put in tons of tough situations. I mean, like basic training was like a slap in the face for someone who's never had, any real strict rules in their life. My parents had rules, but they really didn't enforce them. I pushed them to the limits, and I basically did what I wanted, unfortunately. But yeah, basic training, I mean, waking up super early, going on runs, when you're thrown up on the side of the road, you have a drill sergeant in your face, like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And they break you down, they build you back up. I know it sounds stupid, that's what they say. They break you down, they build you back up, but that is what they do. And, I mean, everything from rolling your socks a certain way to, firing a weapon or whatever. Everything is very regimental, and it goes on throughout the rest of your life. And like I say, unfortunately, after the military, I got in some trouble too. I kind of let that mental fortitude go, but after I got clean, now I live off that every day. Mental fortitude, I mean, with my kids, my family. Right now we're trying to save for a house. So saving money, you have to put off the things that you want to do for the things that you have to do. And, that can be a real pain. I want to go out and buy some protein. I want to drink beer every weekend, but I can't. I got to save some money for a house bigger for my kids.
Yeah, so, mental fortitude can be applied in, every aspect of
every
life.
aspect of
every
life.
Aspect
every
of
aspect of life.
You're going out shopping. You have a grocery list. You stick to that. You're not going and getting. You're not going down the aisle with Little Debbie's.
No,
And then the regiment of, waking up, going to bed. I feel like kids thrive on consistency. And that goes back to the mental fortitude of, keeping this 8 p.m. I don't care if it's a Saturday, Sunday. Like I told you, when you came over, I'm like, dude, 8 p.m. We go to bed in this household.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys do the same.
It's the exact same. My wife, she is extremely strict with that. I mean, kids go in bed within 15 minutes at the same time every day. Yeah. Meals, same time every day. If someone invites us out somewhere and it's during their nap time, unless it's like a special occasion, we turn it down. It's like, no, the kids have to go down for a nap.
No, you've done that to me. You're like, hey, dude, that's Avery's nap time.
Yeah.
And I look at it like sometimes I'm like, dude, that's a cop-out. But, like, I know deep down inside that my kids thrive on consistency.
Absolutely. I mean, like, and one day, I know it sounds stupid, but one day of throwing your kids' nap time off can lead to a week of hell, man. A week. I mean, sometimes longer. I mean, you can instantly tell if my kids have skipped a nap that, they're just grumpy and they whine about they want up, down, like just all over the place, whining. Yeah. You can tell right away if they, so routine. Yeah, I mean, and I can think of a time we were at the bank and Avery, Dylan wasn't even born yet, but Avery was, I don't know, maybe a year old, maybe. And she just flipped out in this bank. And like we were opening a savings account. I think that's what we were doing. Or applying for a car loan. I don't remember what it was, but she went crazy. And luckily there wasn't many people in the bank. But my wife, I'll use her as the example, but she said, no, sit down, this and that. She didn't let it bother her. And I remember this older lady had came up to us and she was like, not many parents these days would have done that. They would have, screamed or yelled or, whatever. She's like, you calmed her down. You did this. She's like, that took, guts and like, so, yeah, it was mental fortitude.
Wow, and she lives that too. I mean, I know Heather's she's pretty strict and stuff.
Yeah.
That's good. And I think that teaches your children, like, mental fortitude as well. Like, it rolls down. They see you going off the handle, and they're like, it's okay to show my anger this way. Like, they have to understand their feelings. Like, he might be sad, but they express it a different way. And I feel like, as parents, they see the way we express ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like this is very meaningful for parents, especially dads, because dads are, I mean, we know like dads are getting a bad rap for going off the handle. They're just, they're supposed to be.
Well, I mean, you had just sent me earlier today a thing on Google about how the way dads act directly affect your kids. Directly. I mean, it had more to do with like depression and stuff like that, but like the way you act around your children has a direct effect of how like if you're depressed or if you fly off the handle, it leads to behavioral problems in your kids later on in life. And you just sent me that today just to read up on, and it's all true.
It was just a reminder that your mental health is more important, more so for your kids, because that's like the next generation.
Absolutely.
And I also think mental fortitude is crucial for dealing with, and this might open a can of worms if my wife listens to this, but dealing with her depression. Like sometimes she just wants to sleep, and I'm like, sometimes she's like very affectionate, not very affectionate. Like I have to deal with this. I mean, literally, it's like 0 to 100.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes she's going off the handle, and I have to I'm like, babe, and I can't let it get to me because I know that it's like, she's just. Everybody has issues.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's not like she issues. Like, she just has depression.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's something that a lot of people suffer from. I mean, it's not,
Yeah. So, with that being said, having at least one parent that, and I'm not saying like, oh, I'm very mentally strong. I'm saying like being conscious of growing my mental strength, my mental toughness, so we're not bickering and going ape shit. We're gonna have to add the explicit to this because like we talked about, but like going ape shit in front of the kids, because that's not sending the right signals, And I'm not saying
absolutely.
I mean, do you and Heather, if you have disagreements, does it escalate? And I know like
I'd say 90% of the time no, but it has before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, flipping some kids' tables over, and like you say, I think that naturally gets the best of everybody. Mental fortitude doesn't have to be something that's 100% of your day. I think everybody can get pushed to that limit, but
yeah, I mean, but it's like a muscle.
Yeah.
It's just
you have to train it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With patience,
Yeah.
And just teaching your kids how to deal with their feelings. Like, we're always learning. They're obviously still learning it. And my kid, how old's Avery? 4?
Avery is 2.5.
2.5. Oh my goodness. So Cam is 6, and like teaching him to deal with his feelings, especially like he's in kindergarten now. He's dealing with other kids' feelings. Like, it's like sending a ball full of, bombs into like.
Well, I mean, we're teaching Avery now. I mean, she's 2.5, but she's always been. She always had all of our attention, and now that we have, a son, he's actually turning 1 in 2 weeks. But now she has to learn to deal with, I'm not getting all the attention anymore, and it's a struggle every day trying.
I'm sure it is.
But I mean, we slowly teach her, like, you have to share. Don't yank this from your brother. Not everything is yours. It's a struggle.
I mean, and I think that goes off of like perspective as well. Like your outlook on certain situations, or even the whole umbrella of life. If you're always in a positive mindset.
Oh yeah.
I think mindset is crucial, right?
Yeah, it said. Yes, one of the 7 habits of people with remarkable mental fortitude is always acting if you're in control and putting aside things you have no ability to impact.
Yeah. And also on that list is grit.
Yes, grit.
There's a book, I'm pretty sure it's titled Grit, and it goes into just grit is such a wide term, but it's like that book really brings out how to, I want to say, like, build mental toughness, just be gritty. And that's what the author really says is like just up your grittiness, perseverance, all that.
Yeah. Another big tip for mental fortitude is never allow yourself to whine or complain or criticize. Your words have power, especially over you. If you have a negative attitude, it will always pull you down. So if something's wrong, don't waste your time complaining about it. Make the situation better.
yeah, and you're always in control of your situation 90% of the time, unless you're like locked up in jail. And yes, bad things happen to good people. Bad things happen to everybody. But somebody said it. There's like a quote out there that it's like not what happens to you, it's how you react.
That's good.
Yeah, Also, expending your mental energy wisely is a huge thing. Because if you're like stressing about, like we talked about, you're worried about stuff all day or all week, and then you're like worried about that, and just it could be a shit show. Like you forget it on the day that you have to remember. Like, I very rarely put the trash out, and I know this is like totally off topic, but if I don't have a reminder or Liz doesn't say, "Hey, put the trash out," I don't know that it's Thursdays.
Well, it goes the same in our house. I mean, I don't remember hardly ever when bills are due, even though they're due the same day every month for the most part. Or I mean, just stupid shit like that. I mean, I mean, Heather has to remind me of stuff we do just signing in like online to pay a bill. I don't ever remember passwords or anything. Like I don't remember any of it. So she has to remind me of those kind of things. The biggest thing, the one I like, is counting your blessings. Every night take a second and be like, I did this right, and pat yourself on the back. That's a great thing for mental fortitude. And that goes with also is like focus on impressing yourself. If you impress yourself, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, that definitely gratitude is a huge thing because, I mean, you could have had a bad day, but you just sit back at the end of the day like, man, I got through a bad day. Like, that wasn't even that bad. I'm still here, right?
Yeah. And I think everybody's been through a terrible day, but just because you've had a bad day, it's really not that bad of a day if you can think back. I've had some days that were really, really bad, and just say you had a bad day at work, and you're like, oh, I had a bad day. It really wasn't that bad.
Yeah, a bad day at work, and you get to go home to your family. And we know, like, there's actual bad days.
I'm getting text right now.
Yeah, that's the Fatherhood Uncut portion of that. And mental strength and fortitude, like, you can learn from your mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that builds toughness. You know, failing, everybody fails. Everybody fails, and you have to overcome that. So mental toughness and just overcoming failure.
That's the big one on there. Number 3 is see the past only as valuable training, even your failures.
Yeah. But you have to have the mental fortitude to know, like, it's, just failed, no big deal. Well, I mean, it's a big deal, but...
I think failure is not a bad thing. The mental
No.
fortitude, knowing that you failed, and as you pick yourself back up and continue to go at it. I'd rather fail 1,000 times than, win the last time than fail once and quit.
Yeah. Just don't quit.
Yeah.
So, you want to pivot into the beer review?
Yeah, I think if we're coming to an end, the beer that we've both been drinking, I don't know if you can see his, but it is Yards Brewing Company, which is a local brewery just about 2 hours north of here in Philly, Pennsylvania. This is their Washington Porter. They've been brewing it since 1999. However, the actual recipe for it was sent by General George Washington in a letter to one of his generals during the Revolutionary War. And I think that's pretty cool that they're like, hey, these are troop movements that the British are doing. Oh, by the way, here's a beer recipe. So, that's important. And it is. They use crystal and chocolate malts and molasses. And I would say I'm not a huge porter fan, I'll be honest. But it's not as heavy as I expected it to be. It's a lot lighter than I expected it to be. And it goes down easy. It's good for, right now it's actually snowing its ass off outside. And I feel like this is a beer that's good for staying indoors, keeping warm.
It totally hit the spot. Porters are my favorite. I feel like he brought it just for me. Which,
I did.
Yeah. So it's really smooth. It's definitely got its like porter quality. I would say it's a better porter than most mass brewed porters.
I have a hard time drinking like more than one porter because of the heaviness and all. This is something I could easily drink a few of and have a good time.
Same. And I think it hits the spot more so because it's snowing out. It's the perfect.
Yeah, it is.
It's the perfect experience.
And it's 7% alcohol, so you get a little more fucked up easier.
Yeah. This episode was really good. Just a few things to touch on. Mental fortitude. Excuse me. To start, evaluate your core beliefs. Whatever that is to you, just keep those in the forefront. Expand your mental energy wisely. Replace negative thoughts with positive, productive thoughts. I think that is like the crucial element in like the start of mental fortitude.
Absolutely.
And practice tolerating discomfort. And this is one of my favorite things. When I know I'm going to be uncomfortable, I shoot weddings. I have to go deal with tenant issues, really uncomfortable situations with people, money, their house, and then shooting somebody's one and only day. So I feed on discomfort. That was right in the mic too.
Yeah, it's funny though because this is actually going to go towards the mental fortitude. My wife right now is trying to quit smoking cigarettes, and she just texts me and says, "This is bad. This sucks so bad. I can't do this. I just can't." So hey babe, I'm gonna need you to have some mental fortitude because I know you'll probably text me here in a second, telling me to bring cigarettes home, but I'm not gonna do that.
Yes,
because a week ago I quit chewing tobacco, and I have not done that since. So we're doing it together to save money for our house. So,
right on.
Mental fortitude.
Mental fortitude. And record your progress daily. Like you had a bad day, just be thankful. You learn from it, grow from it, because you only grow from failures and being under tension and discomfort, right? You don't grow in your comfort zone.
I forgot who said it, and I know not to go back into the whole fitness thing a lot, but someone said if you're not struggling, you're not growing.
Yeah.
So in order to grow, you have to be uncomfortable.
Yep. All right. So this is Fatherhood Uncut. Any last words?
Be safe.
Be safe. Stay strong.
Love, peace, and chicken grease.